Clavicular has become the world's most viral incel in the last couple months. He's even started to get fairly popular with the femcel community because, while he doesn't spend a lot of time overtly ranting about how awful women are like most incel figures do, think your Andrew Tates, he does actually spend a lot more time than the average incel criticizing men, particularly Gen Z men, for not being good enough, and says that it's on them to look smacks to get a girl. And there are a lot of femcels who hear that message and they're like, this guy, these dudes need to make themselves better looking and get more money to be worthy of me. So even the femcels like Clavicular. So he's gone gigaviral. Everyone's always talking about him. And a couple months ago, he went viral for doing another insane thing. Not running a guy over. That was last year, if I remember right. He was on a boat in the Everglades and found a dead alligator, and for some reason decided to pull out his handgun and just mag dump the dead alligator for no reason on stream. I guess he either didn't know or didn't care that that was illegal, and there were consequences. Boy, were there consequences. You know, if he'd just gone out and done that, by the way, he probably would have never been caught. No one would have ever been the wiser, but he did it on live stream. You know, like, that's the thing about these influencers that commit crimes. They always do it on video in 4K. They always state their intent on video in 4K to commit the crime before doing it, too. They always make the case so bad for themselves. But at the very least, shooting a dead alligator is not the most severe crime you could commit in the state of Florida by a long shot. So Clavicular is not seeing the most insane charges that he could be. But the charges he's getting are still pretty bad. So much so that he's taken a plea deal rather than try to fight them. And that plea deal definitely does still come with some pretty significant drawbacks. So let's go ahead and dive into the news on Clavicular's plea deal and him showing up in court. You're not going to believe it, though. I don't know if this video shows it as well, but I've got one that does. They found a judge that can actually mog Clavicular. They found a Chad judge. I doubt it was intentional, but they did.
In court today on charges stemming from a live stream in the Everglades.
He was caught on camera shooting at an alligator that already appeared to be dead. Local 10's Trent Kelly live in Miami with more what happened in court. Trent.
That viral video sparking outrage online, and now as a result, these two popular South Florida streamers.
You know what's really crazy and really funny about this story too? Getting an alligator hunting license is really cheap and easy, and like with very little effort on his part, he could have gotten a license to shoot living alligators on stream in the Everglades. Instead, he gets charges for shooting a dead one because he didn't do his due diligence. Like, it's Florida. You're allowed to shoot alligators there. They encourage it. You just got to get the license.
Are now accepting plea deals in this case. Let's take you to some video from earlier this morning. Social media streamer Braden Peters, known online as Clavicular, walking into a Miami-Dade courtroom earlier today.
Dude, the fact that his name is Braden is like the name I would assume this guy has. Like a Gen Z looksmaxer, like chud from the internet. In this day and age, like, what do I think his name is? Yeah, Braden sounds about right. Yeah.
Before taking a plea.
Sorry to any Bradens watching, but, you know I'm right.
Deal in a case connected to that viral Everglades gun video. Peters, along with co-defendant Andrew Morales, also known online as...
The judge literally looks like the, black and white Chad meme. The dude smiling. You know, we all know the guy. We all know the guy. We've all seen that Chad. He looks like that guy, but colorized.
As Cuban Tarzan both pleaded no contest today to a misdemeanor charge of unlawfully discharging a firearm in public. Now, this charge stems from a March 26th live stream which showed Peters firing multiple rounds from an airboat into the water at what appeared to be a dead alligator inside the Francis Taylor Everglades Wildlife Management Area.
This is also one of the things about having like a little weirdo like Clavicular in your friend group that you got to worry about is he will just kind of stick his handgun right in your face and start firing it, and does not give a fuck if the brass goes flying directly, like straight into your face, because your face is the path where the brass is gonna go. And you know that if you said, like, hey bro, could you like not like fire mag dump brass into my face, he'd be hot brass in my face, he'd be like, why are you being a bitch, bro? Why are you being a bitch? But if you did that to him, you know, he'd be losing his mind, because that's what he just did to this guy. Like, look at this shit. This is ridiculous. Look at this.
Multiple
Imagine you're this
rounds
guy
from an airboat into the water at what appears.
You can see him leaning over because he doesn't want to get hit by the hot brass. He doesn't want it to hit his face, or God forbid, go down his shirt. We've all been there. If you've ever shot a gun if you ever shot guns before, I feel like everybody's gotten a hot brass in their shirt before, and it's never fun. It's never fun. Hypers in chat if you've had that happen to you before. You can tell he's like he's trying to hide from it.
Appeared to be a dead alligator inside the Francis Taylor Everglades Wildlife Management Area. Investigators later opening a criminal case after the video went viral online, generating a lot of...
What is a brass? Oh, okay. Some people don't know what that means, I guess. So brass is like the term that people use for the brass casings of a bullet. So, okay, basically imagine a round. You've got a brass casing. On the very bottom of it, they usually have a little circle. That's like the striker point that attaches to the primer. And when that gets hit, it causes a little spark, which sets off the like powder inside of the casing. And then the contained explosion inside the barrel and the casing sends the bullet, which is the actual projectile, flying down the barrel and out the muzzle and downrange, but the brass stays in the gun. And, you know, depending on the kind of gun you have, the brass stays in the gun. You know, if it's a bolt action, you have to like pull the bolt back and cycle the brass out and put a new round in the chamber manually. And a semi-auto, like a handgun, a Glock, I think is what he's using here, it just does it automatically. You know, as long as you hold the gun right, the slide moving back and forth sends the brass casings flying out, and they're hot because there's just an explosion inside of them like half a second ago, and they go flying everywhere, you know, but they mostly fly out to the left. And so sometimes you get hit. Sometimes you get hit. Having that stuck to your shirt sounds horrible. Well, it's not stuck to your shirt, it's in your shirt. Or stuck to you by your shirt is what you said, yeah. Now, when it happened to me, I was wearing a button-up shirt that was tucked into my, like, pants, and I had a belt on. And I got a 7.62 round that was fresh out, like just came fresh out of the chamber, right down the back of my shirt. And I wasn't, like, I wasn't, like, aimed down range or anything. I wasn't even holding a gun, thankfully. But I literally went, like... I was like trying to I was like a cat. I was like a cat that got water on its back, like trying to shrink away from a thing that was on my body, like as if I was being like as if something. It felt like someone was pressing a brand against my back, and so I was like trying to get away from it. And it takes like 5 seconds to cool off enough that it's not actively hurting you. But yeah, it's the bigger the shell is. Or not shell, the bigger the casing is, the worse it is. You guys got me so stun locked on this, but listen, all I'm saying is Clavicular's a bad friend for putting his buddy's face in the line of his brass intentionally.
Outrage among wildlife conservationists. While today's hearing in court was relatively short, both Peters and Morales briefly addressed the judge while going over the terms of this plea deal. Take a listen.
Please state your name and date of birth for the record.
Reagan Peters, 12/17/2005.
Are you under the influence of anything right now?
No, Your Honor.
Have you spoken to your attorney about this case? Are you satisfied with the representation that Mr. Nyman has provided to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you are charged with 1 count of unlawful discharge of a firearm. I understand you will be entering a plea of no contest to that charge upon the conditions laid out on the record. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So basically, he has realized that the charges that he's being hit with, he can't beat them, or if he tries to fight them, it's going to cost a lot of money and time, and there's a lot of risk that comes with it if he fails to beat the charges. But he's got an out, and that's taking a plea deal where he says, okay, I did it, to less severe charges in exchange for the original charges getting dropped, and instead having to essentially tank a guilty, like a confession to a much less severe crime for much less severe, or not even a much less severe crime, but pleading in order to get a less severe punishment. And here, one of my favorite things he's going to have to deal with here is 6 months of probation. 6 months of probation is going to destroy this guy's career as a, like, nuisance figure. Like, a big part of his content is traveling around and walking around the streets, not being as much of a nuisance streamer as, like, Chud the Builder necessarily, but he's just kind of running around, creating small islands of chaos where he goes. Travel, as far as I understand, is heavily limited. I don't know if he's going to be on a state or federal probation, but I don't know if it matters. He shouldn't be able to leave the state for the entirety of his 6-month probation period. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up the brand that he has going if he can't leave the state. I'm assuming it would be Florida, right?
Now, under this deal, both men must now complete 20 hours of community service and a firearm and FW.
Oh, yeah, and if he does, in fact, use stuff like meth, and he's on probation, they're going to piss test him, like, weekly or something like that, and they're going to catch it. They're going to get him. Like, if he's on probation and gets caught with, like real-ass drugs in his urine, it's going to be a problem for him legally.
Wildlife safety course. Their community service also cannot be streamed or monetized online if they violate the terms of their plea deal. The judge said today they could face up to a year in jail. Now, while neither defendant had any comment following the...
Does that mean ankle bracelet? No, you don't get an ankle bracelet when you're on probation and can't leave the state. It's more like, granted, I only know a few examples of people who are in this situation that I'm pulling from, but it's more like if you were found out to have left the state, there would be severe consequences. You'd be violating your probation. That basically means, guaranteed you're going right back in the slammer right then and there, right? And you might even just get hit with, like, double the consequences that you were facing before. They might not even give you a plea option the second time around if you violate your... I think if you're a probation violator, too, I don't think you can very easily apply for probation once you're back in,
Conclusion of this morning's hearing, the attorney for Peters did send Local 10 a statement saying in part, quote, "My client has accepted responsibility for his conduct and reached a resolution that appropriately reflects the circumstances of this incident. No individual was injured and the alligator involved was already deceased prior to the events at issue." For now, that is the latest live this afternoon from the courthouse in Miami. I'm Trent Kelly, Local 10.
Dude, imagine if this leads to Clavicular doing the unthinkable and he actually starts rehab and therapy maxing. Yeah, 0 rab, exactly. Maybe he'll get help, Like, maybe he'll actually get help. Here's the clip that everybody was talking about on Twitter, by the way. Clavicular got mogged by the judge who gave him his sentence. Everybody's posting, like, the GIF, the, like, black and white Chad GIF. The Sigma male GIF, but it's in reference to the judge.
2 social media streamers accused of firing a gun in the Everglades during a live stream. They have now pleaded no contest to the charges. Andrew Morales, known online as Cuban Tarzan, and Braden Peters, who goes by Clavicular, they were each charged with unlawful discharge of a firearm in a public place. This case stems from a March live stream that appeared to show a dead alligator being shot in the Everglades. As part of their sentence, both men received 6 months probation, 20 hours.
Cuban Tarzan might be the most Floridian online username I've ever heard in my life. Genuinely. Like, actually. For one, the original Tarzan was filmed in Florida. And two, I mean, Florida, Cubans, Cuba's right there,
Of community service that cannot be streamed or monetized, along with wildlife and firearm safety courses. If they do violate their probation, they could face up to 364 days in jail. 2 social media...
Ooh. 354 days in jail if he violates his probation. You guys hear that? You know who else is currently standing in front of a judge and facing down the looming justice system? Chud the Builder. Did you guys see this? Chud the Builder's appearance in court? I don't know if we have any video, but we do have photos. And the photos are quite good. You can just tell from this one image alone, the vibe has changed spectacularly. He is not the same high and mighty, laughing and yucking it up dude he was on the street, fucking with people. He looks like he's just realized consequences exist. And just because he has a bit of an internet following, that doesn't mean they don't. I saw a bunch of cope on social media as well of people saying that Chud the Builder has actually won. Because supposedly, sources say that he's already a shot caller in the county jail. Which is probably not even true. But even if it is true, okay? Also, yes, his bail's been set to $1.25 million. Even if it is true, imagine that being their cope. Like, oh my god, Chud the Builder won. He's the shot caller already in the county jail. Chud the Builder won, libtard. Okay, man. Alright. If you say so.